Okay, guys, today, after that video I just made, God had me reflecting on letting go of relationships that no longer serve us. And not even just letting go, even just, I think more specifically, completely letting go, like complete release of those types of relationships, right? So the relationships as far as, the ones that you've cut off, the ones that you tend to overthink about, did I do the right thing? The ones that you gaslight yourself about. Because, when you have a good heart and your heart space is great, like your goal is just to want to help and support people. Even if they've done you wrong, even if, you see things that you've seen, the Holy Spirit's warned you and whatnot. But really, if God says to let those go, just letting them go. And sometimes when we do let them go, like even just asking for revelation, Lord, like, please show me why I had to let this relationship go. And I think once God reveals to you why certain things had to end, that's when you are going to, that's when it's going to be easier to let go. I've often battled with having to let go of relationships that no longer serve me, right? And not even no longer serving me as like, oh yeah, you're not for me, like none of that. More so in a space of relationships that are not being reciprocated. God knows our hearts and he knows the hearts of others, right? And so when we're giving to other people and it's not being reciprocated, often those are the relationships that drain us the most, the ones that distract us the most with overthinking, with chasing, all of those things. And those are the relationships that distract you from your purpose. I was in a relationship where I conformed to the other person's ideas of what I should be or how I should be. And in doing that, I completely lost myself. It took about 12 years, before I actually did something about it, which, the first step was counseling. And it wasn't until I was in that counseling space that I recognized that I had completely lost myself, y'all. All right, y'all, now it's story time. For 15 years of a relationship where I conformed to somebody's idea of what I should be as a wife, as a mother, as a person, I lost myself. It wasn't until we did counseling. I believe it was his idea. Counseling was the last step before, we just called it quits. And so I said, let's do marriage counseling. So we did marriage counseling. In the beginning, I really didn't think it was me. The stuff that he was saying, he put on a really great, mask for the counselor. And even at that time, I didn't really know that. I just, kind of fell along with what I usually fell along with, going along with the narrative, and to the point to where the counselor was believing that it was me. And so then I even more so thought it was me and started gaslighting myself, because that was just the structure of our relationship, especially the gaslighting pieces. And so it wasn't until our counselor got into more depth, because I got to a point where I was like, this is not true. Like, this is not what I do. I do my best to do A, B, and C. Like just, arguing my point at that point of my session, of one of our sessions. And so, I'll never forget this. The day that I opened my eyes to recognizing that it wasn't me, our counselor gave us this test. And the test was supposed to measure where our self-esteem levels were. When I tested, my self-esteem levels weren't even on the chart. It wasn't even at a 0, 1, like it was not on the chart, y'all. When they tested his and they got the results back from his was completely off the chart. His self-esteem was so high. As my counselor started going through, the sessions that we had, he started to recognize certain things. And that's when the change happened. That's when he started to realize this is not a situation where she's lazy, where she's not doing what she's supposed to do. Like, this is a situation to where you have all the control and you know exactly where to keep her, to to continue to maintain that control. In addition to that, it was also the piece of, you're continuing to have these expectations and these bars for her to reach, and every time she reaches higher and higher for these bars, you move the bar up. So none of the goals that you have for her are attainable. And that is a part of continuing to keep control. So with that being said, that's when I woke up to what was really happening, not even for him, but more so for me, to hear that my self-esteem was not even on the charts. That was like a space that broke me. In my mind, I just remember thinking, like, how did I get to this space? How do I get out of it? Like, I have a daughter, like, what is she gonna think of me? Like, it's my goal and my duty to be able to teach her, like, to never get to this space. And so I think from that day on, I vowed to myself that I'm gonna find the new me. I'm going to find who I was. Like, I'm going to put these pieces back together for myself. And this is a relationship that no longer serves me. Unless, it was always my hope that maybe, through counseling, we would continue and maybe we would get past this piece and we would utilize the tips to grow and have a better relationship, because sometimes people don't know. We don't know until we're told. But that wasn't the case for me. Honestly, it was as the counselor started to now flip the script and go more into detail about the things that he was doing and was calling him out on the things that he was recognizing. My ex he didn't want to continue counseling any longer. He wanted to move to a different counselor, a female counselor. And so it was at that point to where I realized, like, everything that I had been gaslit about, everything that I had been seeing over the years, and even now, like, I have somebody removed telling me that this is what this is. And now I was done. I said my focus had to be me. Losing yourself behind someone else is probably the most, and recognizing it and hearing it from someone else was probably the most broken I had ever been. But I didn't allow that to stop me. I didn't allow that to hinder me. I had to fight, and I had to fight really hard. Like, the next day I made it a mission to, like, I would look myself in the mirror and I would cry. And I would cry. Because it was such a broken space. But now that I look back and I see where I'm at now, like, I put so much work into building myself up. I put so much work into healing myself. But that was a broken space for me. But the beauty that I found in that was that I think without me being in that space, I wouldn't have known what I needed to heal from. I wouldn't have known the steps and the boundaries that I needed to put in place. And so, again, like I said, the beauty in all of it, at the time, it didn't seem like there was too much beauty in that broken space. But looking back, the beauty that I gained was the start of my journey, the start of where I am now. If you would have asked me 3 years ago if I would be online talking to people or sharing my story, I would have said absolutely not. Even if God himself would have said, he did tell me. Even when God was telling me to post my journey, I could not be obedient at the time. It was such a vulnerable space for me. But here I am now with the strength enough and the wisdom enough and the knowledge to help others navigate in the way that I was able to navigate and overcome. And so here I am with new boundaries. I didn't even know what boundaries were at the time. I was able to not find the old me, because that's what I was searching for in the beginning, but realizing that this is a new me. I'm a new creation. I'm a new person. A person with boundaries, a person with standards, a person with value, a person who now has the knowledge and wisdom on what a healthy relationship looks like. And also what gaslighting was, even when it comes to gaslighting myself from the trauma, I was able to heal in so many other areas that I didn't know need to be healed. So I say all this to say that, if that relationship is no longer serving you, if it is disturbing your peace, if it is causing you emotional turmoil, if it's even causing your stomach to tighten up a little, or if it's causing you to cringe, take it to God, go find support or resources that will maybe support the relationship. And I'm not telling you all to leave your husbands or relationships or friendships, none of that. But I am saying find those supportive pieces. But most importantly, find that piece that supports you, because you are the greatest gift that God has made, and you are uniquely made. You are wonderfully made. And there's a purpose and a plan for you. We can lose ourselves and lose track, or not even know what the purpose and plan is until it's too late. And so it's my hope that you all learn from me, learn from my story. Hopefully I've encouraged you to reach out to counselors, or, reach out to other people that may have been telling you, certain things that they've seen. But definitely support yourself. Take care of yourself, because we need you to be okay. There are other people in this world who need you to be okay. I need you to be okay. You're going to be okay because I'm okay. So yeah, that's what I have for you all today, loves. Have a happy Friday.